it's going. It's recording now.
Thank you so much. And you pronounce your name Carey Bringle.
That's correct.
And just Michelle again. So thrilled to be sitting here with Carey Bringle. He is the chef and the brains behind Peg Leg Porker. And in case you missed some of my last videos, starting this journey back to wellness, and my journey brought me to Tennessee. I just got in a couple days ago, but before I got here, I was trying to figure out where to go, what to do before my sororities leadership academy starts on Thursday. And I'm also a member of Shende's Rotisseur, which I joined after years of pandemic isolation and caregiving my mom, who'd broken her femur for the third time and ended up after surgery in total isolation, and then home, and so much chaos. The trees and everything got ripped out, flooded our house before Hurricane Ian came. Anyway, a lot of chaos. But that's when I told my mom, I need to start getting out. You haven't fallen for a while. I joined Shende's Rotisseur to start meeting nice people over a nice meal. And Shende's Rotisseur honors people in the culinary world, including Carey Bringle. And that's how I found it listed in Shende's Rotisseur. So I looked at Peg Leg Porker, and the more I read, the more I realized even beyond his brilliant barbecue industry, this man is a legend, and for me, real inspiration.
Thank you.
Because according to what I read, he overcame a cancer battle.
That's correct.
So that's why I, for about a month, been desperately, passionately hoping I could meet him. And when I finally got the call yesterday morning, I've been scrambling to get it done. So thank you again. Now you know a little bit about my why, and so enough about me. Let's start with how you ended up even wanting to get into barbecue. Should we start there? Because
Sure.
I think your history was...
Sure. Yeah, so my family, I grew up in Nashville, born and raised here, but my family was all from West Tennessee, so from Memphis and from Covington. And so for us, barbecue was a huge part of our just family gatherings, and just part of the, personality of West Tennessee, and something that was very important to us. And so I spent a lot of time traveling back and forth to Memphis as a child, and learned how to cook barbecue from my Uncle Bruce, and then also from my grandfather Jack. And so that fostered a interest in barbecue at a young age and a love of it, and that carried on. After college, I joined a barbecue competition team down in Memphis, and we competed in Memphis in May for years, and then I broke off and started my own team. And so I cooked down there for about 32, 33 years. And I was in healthcare, and then I was in technology, but I owned businesses all along the way. And so entrepreneurship was nothing new to me, but finally I made the decision to pull the trigger and start my restaurant. And I already had the brand that I had been cooking under, and already had developed some products, but I finally decided to pull the trigger on the restaurant, and then that kind of dominoed into multiple other businesses.
And I read online that you actually won a lot of these barbecue competitions.
We did well. We did well down there. Never won grand champion down there, but took second place on several occasions, and also third place in whole hog. And we had a lot of fun, and so we've won a lot of awards with the restaurant. More awards with the restaurant than I ever did competing.
Do you know how many? I know the Chandés Rotisseur gave you an award. I saw you had won some others. Do you know how many you've won at this point?
We've been named 7 out of the last 12 years. We were named #1 barbecue in the state of Tennessee by Southern Living.
That's great.
For I think 5 or 6 times we've been named Southern Living's top 50 barbecue joints in the South. And then we've won some various other awards along the way, a lot of from different publications. And then we also have a spirits company, Peg Leg Porker Spirits, and our bourbon has won numerous accolades, and in 2023 won World's Best Bourbon.
And can you explain to our viewers where the name Peg Leg Porker came from?
Yeah, so like you said, I had a battle with bone cancer when I was 17 years old. It was the summer before my senior year, and it was osteogenic sarcoma, and as a result, I lost my right leg above the knee. And so I'm a right leg above the knee amputee, but that's where the name Peg Leg Porker comes from. I literally am the Peg Leg Porker.
I think that's fabulous. Now you turned a real challenge into this beautiful, now legendary enterprise. So if you don't mind, can we speak a little bit about that? You're 17 years old.
Right.
You got this brutal diagnosis.
Yes.
To people at home who might be listening and challenged with equally or worse bad news, what might you tell them? Like what inspired you to fight, to just not let that be the end of your journey, but maybe the beginning of a new one?
Yeah, I'm lucky that I was raised by a very strong mother and had a very strong family, and so I had the support of my mother and my sister and several other family members, and really, it was sort of a attitude of, you have to look at something like that and go, well, I can either sit around and do nothing and die, which was the or I can fight this, and we can make the most of it, and I can have the right attitude and have a positive attitude, and so that's what I did, and I consider myself very lucky, not just to have gone through that experience, but to be surrounded by family and church and people that were very supportive, and the cancer didn't bother me that much. My parents had a bad divorce, that had really bothered me, but so when the cancer came along, it just was kind of like another bump in the road, and I think that when you're dealing with a diagnosis like that attitude is everything. Yeah. And so I had the right attitude. That was, we're going to beat this, and I can make it through, and I'm lucky that it happened to somebody like me, that could handle it, rather than somebody who might fall into depression or something as a result of it. So, that was kind of my attitude all along, and that was the attitude of my family, and we worked through it. It was 8 brutal months of chemotherapy and the amputation, but hey, I went to high school with people who didn't have any arms and legs, and they did just fine. So, I use some of those people as an inspiration to me to look at that and say, how could I feel sorry for myself when I know somebody that was born with no arms and no legs and is sitting in the chair next to me in high school and can probably write better than I can. So.
Amen. And, again, we've all been through challenges. I'm sure people at home, what is a challenge to us might not seem like a challenge to other people, but we all have different types of challenges. And this is why you're a legend, because you're right, attitude is everything. And I don't know, maybe we're just blessed. Some people have more resilience than others born into them, family members, but community in general. Again, it's also why I'm grateful to be here. Yeah. Very grateful to my sorority community, the Chandés Rotisseur community. So my little advice I'll plug in: find a community. If you're not blessed to already have a family or people around, go out, volunteer. There are people, or go to church. There are people. There are people who might be waiting to hear from exactly you. Now let me ask, when you were little, did you ever think that you would be sitting here being interviewed for a YouTube channel to be the inspiration for other people?
Well, there was no YouTube when I was little. So, no, I didn't think that. I had hoped that, one day I might have a barbecue restaurant or something that I could enjoy and share food with people, and which is important to me, and kind of why you do it in the restaurant business. But it's nice and to be able to give back in a meaningful or a positive way to the community and to other families that are going through what I went through.
I did read online that you are also known to be very philanthropic, and
Yes.
some of your causes, I believe, include helping people with food sustenance.
Absolutely, yes. We worked extensively with Operation Barbecue Relief during COVID and during the Nashville tornado. And we fed, I think we fed around 32,000 people in a 2-week period, all free meals for the community, for people in need. And then we do a lot of charitable work throughout the year. We don't advertise it because we don't feel like it's a advertising opportunity. It's it's something that we do because we think it's the right thing to do and because we want to help out our community. Now with our new sauces and rubs, something that we do want to advertise is that we're donating a portion of those proceeds to a foundation called MIB, which is Make It Better, and they specifically work with osteogenic sarcoma families and patients. And so we now have a national partnership with McCormick, and our sauces and rubs are in over 2,000 stores. And every time that somebody goes out and buys a peg leg pork or bottle of sauce, 5% of that will go back to MIB charity to help those families of osteogenic sarcoma.
Thank you so much. I love that. And I love McCormick spices.
Yes.
Shout out to
Very good.
McCormick.
Yes,
I
they're
grew
great.
up. My mom actually had a little TV show before I was born. I
Oh,
called
nice.
her the original Martha Stewart.
Oh, very cool.
We had our pantry stocked with McCormick
Oh, yeah.
my entire life. So
Very cool.
thank you, McCormick. So let me ask you, mentioned the pandemic. How did that impact your business? I understand industry-wise, it was brutal for the restaurant industry.
It was tough. So we had to shut down. I think we shut down for about 8 weeks, and it was extremely tough to stand in front of all your employees and have to furlough them. Is a very emotional and tough thing, and so it was that for me. And so we wanted to bring them back just as soon as we were able. When they came out with the PPP programs, we applied for that. We got one, and we needed to, under the guidelines, you had to spend that money in a certain amount of time. Well, we didn't have the business to really need to spend that money in that amount of time because everybody was still kind of sheltering. So that's when we took that time to make meals for the community with Operation Barbecue Relief.
So wonderful.
So when I was able to bring my people back, get them employed, get them paid to be able to feed their families, and then we fed other families in need.
And if you're listening, that's the name of the game, in my humble opinion. Work hard, do the best you can, take care of your people, and then grow your bubble out.
Yep.
We're all in this together. So would you say that was the most challenging, or what you've shared some of your personal challenges,
Right.
your cancer and your parents divorcing, but in business, you mentioned you've been an entrepreneur even before this amazing business in the restaurant world you're doing now. What was your most challenging business?
Well, I've had good businesses and I've had bad businesses, and I've had good businesses with bad business partners. So, I think the most challenging would have been I was in a business with a business partner that was not honest, and I found out about some things that he was doing, and so I walked away from that business. I sold my part to him, but essentially walked away because I couldn't trust him. That was very difficult. It was a very hard lesson. It cost me a lot of money. But in the long run, it made me a better business person. And it made me be able to have some more foresight that I didn't have before. And so, the reason that Peg Leg Porker is successful is because of the many mistakes that I've made in the past and learning from those mistakes and being able to get back up and dust yourself off and carry on. And that would be the most important lesson I would share with anybody on business is grit and determination will take you farther than just about anything else you can learn in business.
Well, thank you so much, and you already answered my last question. What advice would you give people starting their business? I agree. As I told you before I came here, we have to sometimes improvise and make do, and just when you think it's not going to work out, look at us now. Don't give up, but and find people you can trust.
Absolutely.
The world seems to be broken when you turn on the news. There's a lot of things that make it terrifying to want to even leave your house.
Yep.
But this is also why I'm here. My journey back to wellness is also to prove there are really good people in this world. And it's been a pleasure chatting.
Very nice to meet you. Yeah, thank you.
Spending time.
All right.
Anything else you'd like to say?
Oh, I'm good. Thank you. I think that's it.